It has a spring in it. Different spring.
Okay, good evening, everybody. This is the Board of Mayor and Aldermen for April the 13th, 2021. We're limiting physical access in the meeting room due to current limitations on public gatherings, and we've made accommodations to ensure the public will be able to participate. There are a lot of ways you can participate. You can watch the meeting on Franklin TV or the City of Franklin website. You can watch the live stream through the City of Franklin Facebook and YouTube accounts, or you can actually call in 1-312-626-6799 with meeting ID of 917-0203-0238 with a passcode of 159812. We will unmute you at the appropriate time. Limited viewing is available in City Hall. The public may email comments and questions prior to 3:30 p.m. on the day of the meeting, and that is a hard stop time. And you send those to the recorder at franklintn.gov. They will be read aloud, and generally speaking, we limit those to 2 minutes. Here are the links that you need. YouTube.com/user/City of Franklin, or Facebook.com/City of Franklin, or FranklinTN.gov/Franklin TV. We are now officially called to order, and I'm going to call the roll. Alderman Barnhill.
Present.
Alderman Martin.
Present.
Alderman Schroer.
Here.
Alderman Speedy.
Present.
Alderman McClendon.
Present.
Alderman Blanton.
Here.
Alderman Peterson.
Here.
And Vice Mayor Berger.
Here.
Okay, we've got everybody here. We're going to start out with the invocation by Alderman Barnhill, then I'll lead the Pledge of Allegiance. So if you'll join me by standing.
If everyone would bow, Heavenly Father, we come to you tonight in prayer, thanking you for this day and for all the many blessings and freedoms that we have as citizens of this great United States. We give you thanks for those blessings, for those freedoms. We also ask that you be with those that protect these freedoms that we have, whether it's the first responders, whether it's the military. We know it's a hardship. A lot of times there's family separation, and we know that there's difficulty in areas where there's family separation. We also ask that you be with the world leaders tonight. We ask that you be with our local leaders. Be with us as we make decisions as aldermen for the City of Franklin. Give us spiritual wisdom and guidance. In Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Join me in the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States
of the United States of America.
and to the
republic which stands, one nation, under God, indivisible,
with liberty and justice for all. We'll now go to Item 1, which is Resolution 2021-64, and this resolution declares that the Board of Mayor and Alderman members shall meet on April 13th, 2021 to conduct its essential business by electronic means rather than being required to gather a quorum of the members physically present in the same location, because it's necessary to protect the health, safety, and welfare of Tennesseans in the light of COVID outbreak. Is there a motion?
Move for approval.
Thank you, Alderman Martin. Seconded, Alderman Barnhill. Any discussion? Seeing none, ready to vote. Alderman Barnhill.
Yes.
Alderman Martin.
Yes.
Alderman Schroer.
Yes.
Alderman Speedy.
Yes.
Alderman McClendon.
Yes.
Alderman Blanton.
Yes.
Alderman Peterson.
Yes.
And Vice Mayor Berger.
Yes.
Passes unanimously. Now's an opportunity for citizens to make comments on items that are not on the agenda. Do we have anyone to make comments on items not on the agenda tonight?
Callers, if there's anybody on the line that wanted to make a comment at this moment in time, this is your opportunity. Go ahead and unmute. For items not on the agenda, to clarify.
Seeing none, we'll move on to communications from Williamson County Commission. I have none. Then we'll move to approval of the minutes from March the 9th, work session and Board of Mayor and Alderman, and March 23rd, work session and Board of Mayor and Alderman. Is there a motion?
Move for approval.
Thank you, Alderman Peterson. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Alderman Barnhill. Seeing no additions or corrections, you ready to vote? Alderman Barnhill.
Yes.
Alderman Martin.
Yes.
Alderman Schroer.
Yes.
Alderman Speedy.
Yes.
Alderman McClendon.
Yes.
Alderman Blanton.
Yes.
Alderman Peterson.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Berger.
Yes.
Passes unanimously. We now have a proclamation for the fair housing. So I need my proclamation. Perfect. Before we get to the proclamation, I wanted to recognize that we received a letter from Kenny Martin, who's the city manager of Mount Juliet, thanking us for the help that we provided during the tornado disaster that occurred in their city. And also, they passed along a resolution or proclamation from the city of Mount Juliet, thanking the city of Franklin for their help during this time of crisis in their community. And it's signed by their mayor and their vice mayor and the commissioners for the city of Mount Juliet. And we appreciate their recognition of our great staff who went there to help them in that troubling, disastrous time. So we appreciate that. And it's always good to have feedback. So now this is the proclamation I mentioned, that the city of Franklin, Tennessee actively and affirmatively promotes fair housing in its policies and practices. And whereas April 2021 marks the 53rd anniversary of the 1968 Fair Housing Act, which strives to ensure equal housing opportunity for all, the law prohibits discrimination based on race, color, creed, national origin, sex, familial status, or handicap, and applies to homeowners, landlords, mortgage lenders, and appraisers. Whereas for many families, homeownership is a stepping stone to prosperity and represents the American way of life. And fair housing means opening those doors for everyone in the country whose goal it is to own a home. And whereas the Board of Mayor and Aldermen hereby designate April as Fair Housing Month in the city of Franklin, Tennessee, and reaffirms its commitment to combating unlawful housing discrimination and encouraging the development of balanced residential living patterns, therefore be it proclaimed that on this day, April 13th, 2021, the Board of Mayor and Aldermen of the city of Franklin do hereby recognize and claim our dedication to the principles guaranteed under the Fair Housing Act for the existing residents and future generations. So, very good. Okay, we'll now go to miscellaneous reports, and we'll start out with Mr. Stuckey reporting regarding Executive Order 2021-01 dated March 30th, 2021 about flooding.
Thank you, Mayor, and good evening, Aldermen and our staff team and the members of the Franklin community who are part of this meeting. I do want to provide a summary report. Pretty much all of this information has been provided to the board over the last couple weeks, but this relates to the significant rain event and flooding that resulted in impact in our community on March 27th and March 28th. The Harpeth River at that time crested on Sunday afternoon, March 28th at about 3:15 at 30.97 feet, so just under 31 feet. In response to that following week and on that Tuesday morning, Mayor Moore issued a local declaration of emergency. It was Executive Order 2021-01, And really that recognized the impact on the community. It created some additional authority for us to especially provide permits to property owners that had property damage as a result of the floods at no cost, no fee permits for those impacted by the floods. It also authorized the city administrator and our staff team to take actions needed to take care of any impacts on public property, as well as work in the best interest to protect the well-being of our residents, of the citizens of Franklin. I'm pleased to report that overall we came out of it in pretty good shape. Let me give you some summary level information. We saw damage to city property, public property, at just under our preliminary estimate at this point, just under $505,000. About $401,000 of that took place in city parks. So we are in the process and have been in the process ever since then to recover. Our teams have been working diligently and we are in good shape. In terms of private property impact, we saw 27 properties impacted. An initial assessment was done identifying those properties by our fire department. Since then, the Building and Neighborhood Services team have worked on a more complete, continue to work on a more complete assessment and is working with those property owners. Of the 27 properties, 18 were residential properties, 9 were commercial properties. We did talk a little bit about the Army Corps project. That's also on your agenda today to take some action, but we did move forward with that to help a couple properties more specifically impacted by the flooding to advance them in that project that you'd already approved. We had fortunately just received back the agreement from the Army Corps, and so did act to move forward so that those folks, especially needing some temporary accommodations, could get those and document those as part of the project, which is an allowable piece of the home elevating project. So I do want to just thank our team for their response. They were on it. They responded promptly. It really from all aspects, public works, public safety, our streets teams, our parks team, police, fire, all were acting, our water department, water plants, both water treatment and water reclamation, all were doing a great job. I happened to be out of town that entire weekend on some personal family business, and they just handled it. I was not as involved as I might normally be, but I was getting great updates and great information, and can't tell you how proud I am of the way our team responded to the community need and did what they needed to do. And so we always do our very best, and they showed well. And I want to thank them, thank the residents for their responses too. We just received a lot of help and cooperation as we responded to it. We're thankful that the flooding did not reach the level that some of the modeling showed earlier in the weekend, but nonetheless, our team responded well. I want to thank them for their work. So I will stop with that report. Again, this is largely information we've shared previously, but I did want to summarize it for the community and as a follow-up to the executive order that was issued. We continue to be able to work with anyone who has flood property damage. They can work with us, and that the fee waiver continues to be in place, even though the actual declaration has expired. It still identifies the need, and we can continue to work from that and provide those services to our community. So thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Stuckey. And I think the entire board of mayor and aldermen would echo your comments about the professionalism and response of our team to this disaster and flood. And we appreciate why they train every single day to do what they do and put themselves at risk to help others. So we thank them from the bottom of our heart. We're going to are there any other reports? If not, we're going to go on to the consent agenda, and all items under the consent agenda are deemed to be non-controversial and routine in nature by the governing body that will be approved as recommended by committee or staff by one motion of the governing body. The items on the consent agenda will not be discussed. So we're considering items number 16 through 31 tonight, and I would entertain a motion.
So move.
Thank you, Alderman Schroer. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Alderman Barnhill. Any discussion? Seeing none, ready to vote. Alderman Barnhill.
Yes.
Alderman Martin.
Yes.
Alderman Schroer,
Yes.
Alderman Speedy,
Yes.
Alderman McClendon,
Yes.
Alderman Blanton,
Yes.
Alderman Peterson,
Yes.
and Vice Mayor Berger.
Yes.
Thank you. Passes unanimously. We'll now go to item 6. This is a public hearing and it's consideration of ordinance 2021-01, an ordinance to rezone 140.81 acres from planned PD .7/1,563,000 district to planned PD 11.72, 1,573,500 square feet per 450 keys district for the property located south of Goose Creek Bypass and west of Interstate 65, located at 2409 Goose Creek Bypass, Berry Farms, Pat Chadwell, PUD.
Thank you, and good evening.
Thank you, Joey.
The applicant is requesting to rezone the property to Plan District with the entitlements of 11.72 density, approximately 1.5 million square feet of retail and commercial, and 450 hotel rooms to accommodate the proposed revision to the Berry Farms Chadwell PUD subdivision. The current entitlements for the property were approved in July 2006, and the revised development plan for Chadwell PUD has been submitted concurrently with this rezoning request. Envision Franklin places this parcel into both the regional commerce and neighborhood mixed-use design concepts. For regional commerce, Envision Franklin states that new development contains high-intensity activity centers that attract large numbers of people and employers from both within and outside the city. These areas include major employment and revenue generators that are valuable community resources. For a neighborhood mixed use, Envision Franklin states that this concept provide a diverse mix of high activity uses with a connected and walkable block layout. These centers and corridors should have coordinated development patterns at a pedestrian scale with high quality architecture, plaza sidewalks, and pedestrian and bicycle amenities to activate the street and connect these gathering places to residential neighborhoods they support. So the proposed rezoning to Plan District with the revised entitlements is appropriate to achieve the recommendations of regional commerce and neighborhood mixed use as outlined in Envision Franklin, and allows for the applicant to create a cohesive integrated development that is pedestrian oriented. The Planning Commission recommended approval unanimously, and staff recommends approval as well. Happy to answer any questions.
This is a public hearing. Is there anyone that wants to speak to this body on the rezoning?
Callers on the line, if you are here to talk about the rezoning, you may go ahead and unmute yourself now. Just a reminder, this is not related to the development plan and any collector road access. This is just for the rezoning.
I declare the public hearing closed and would entertain a motion.
So move.
Thank you, Alderman Barnhill. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Alderman Martin. Any discussion? Ready to vote? Alderman Barnhill,
Yes.
Alderman Martin,
Yes.
Alderman Schroer,
Yes.
Alderman Speedy,
Yes.
Alderman McClendon,
Yes.
Alderman Blanton,
Yes.
Alderman Peterson,
Yes.
and Vice Mayor Berger.
Yes.
Passes unanimously. Item 12. Whoops, I'm sorry. Turn the paper over. Item 7. This is a public hearing. Consideration resolution 2021-06. Resolution approving a revised development plan for Berry Farms Chadwell PUD subdivision with 2 modification of development standards relating to signage and storefront requirements for the property located south of Goose Creek Bypass and west of Interstate 65, located at 2409 Goose Creek Bypass. I think, Joey, are you going to comment? And then I think also Mr. Girth wants to make some comments specifically on some access to this property.
Yes, I can do that. The applicant is proposing a revision to the Berry Farms Chadwell PUD subdivision located at the southwest corner of Goose Creek Bypass and the Interstate 65 junction. The proposed development consists of 1,650 dwelling units, approximately 1.57 million square feet of commercial space, and 450 hotel rooms. The original concept plan and pattern book for the Berry Farms Chadwell PUD subdivision were approved in July 2006. The plan as proposed responds to the recommendations of Envision Franklin through a cohesive design of mixed residential, retail, and office space that provides live-work opportunities and a pedestrian-oriented community as well. The higher density and larger scale of the development is concentrated along the interstate in the northern section, with the southern section transitioning into heights and use to the surrounding neighborhoods that's compatible with both Stream Valley and the Goose Creek Estates. The plan provides ample open space and transitionary green space between Berry Farms Chadwell and Goose Creek Estates. There are two modification of standards requests with this plan. The first is the applicant is requesting to modify the regulations for monument signage to allow 4 freestanding arches over the main thoroughfare in the northern section of Berry Farms Chadwell. The applicant additionally requests that the primary material for these 4 arch signs be metal. The sign ordinance within the zoning ordinance itself limits the height of signs for monument signs to 6 feet over and 6 feet and overall height of 8 feet. It additionally limits the primary material of the monument signs to masonry. Given the size and scale of the development and the proposed locations over a private road, staff can support the request for arch signage. This request is unique to the intent of this development and will enhance the overall design. As a condition of approval, any portion of the sign structure's base or foundation is not permitted to be located in public utility easements, and that all applicable standards and specifications for public infrastructure and utilities within the roadway being spanned shall be adhered to at site plan stage. Staff recommends approval of the first modification, and the Planning Commission unanimously recommended approval by a vote of 8-0 for modification of standard number 1. For the second modification, the applicant is requesting to modify the storefront regulations for the commercial mixed-use building type to eliminate the knee wall and extend the storefront glass down to ground level. Additionally, the applicant is requesting to modify the storefront requirements for additional flexibility on transom windows being required on all storefronts. Section 6.8 of the zoning ordinance requires retail storefronts have traditional features, including knee walls, to establish a clear and distinguishable base, as well as transom windows. The standards for retail storefronts were included in the December 2019 edition of the Franklin zoning ordinance and were retained in the December 2020 zoning ordinance update. So staff stands with the regulations in the ordinance and will not recommend support of the proposed modification to the storefront standards. Staff recommends disapproval of modification number 2, and Planning Commission also recommended disapproval by a vote of 8-0. We have project consideration that we've had several comments from neighboring citizens in Stream Valley regarding the connectivity and construction traffic. And Boyle and our team at the city have worked out a phasing plan for the road network. There is additional access for emergency vehicles and limiting construction traffic from having to utilize roads in Stream Valley. So with all of that in mind, staff recommends approval with conditions of Resolution 2021-06, and the Planning Commission recommended approval unanimously as well. Happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Go ahead, Mr. Curry.
Thank you, Mayor, Alderman. Throughout this process, city staff working with Boyle has always been conscientious about the experiences that we've had with the Rural Plains development across the street to the north. Having 150 or so acre mixed use development has exposed us to how important it is to look at phasing of those types of development to ensure the safety of people that are buying homes and residents and quality of life can coexist with construction activity going on. And then also the employees for the many businesses and the visitors and customers that are frequenting those businesses. So we started from the onset of looking at a phasing plan and how Boyle could achieve that with a road network and connectivity. In part of the neighborhood meetings, I had the pleasure of meeting Alexandria Ferris from the adjacent Stream Valley neighborhood, and we had several conversations, and she actually was kind enough to schedule a meeting with several of her neighbors that I was able to meet with to ensure that their concerns for connectivity and safety accessibility were addressed to the extent possible. Several of her neighbors, I'm sure, are joining us this evening because we aren't in full agreement, but I'm trying to balance that with the safety of a construction of the Chadwell site, 140 acres, with providing the accessibility and connectivity that will ultimately be achieved. Presently, Stream Valley does have two access points off Lewisburg, one Stream Valley Boulevard and another access a bit further to the south, which was planned for that development when it was approved back in the mid-2000s. With the Chadwell development, eventually there'll be two additional points of connectivity that will allow residents to travel northward to Goose Creek Bypass. In addition, further towards Lewisburg, there'll be another point of connection for the Stream Valley neighborhood through the Southbrook development that's they're doing some grading work as we speak on that development that's adjacent to Lewisburg. So when complete, the Stream Valley neighborhood will have 5 points of connectivity, which is a good thing because we've had some discussions where neighborhoods don't want connectivity. The phasing plan that's in your packet is based on vehicular trips and certificates of occupancy. And we believe with staff and Boyle that that is achievable. It'll provide an emergency point of connection through Chadwell once a lot of the infrastructure is in place, but will allow the Boyle development team to commence construction on a fair amount of dwellings and non-residential buildings before they open up a permanent connection, which will allow traffic to traverse in both directions into Stream Valley and out of Stream Valley to Goose Creek Bypass. Understandably, the residents in Stream Valley would prefer to have the connectivity sooner. Staff finds that the phasing plan is reasonable and should improve the quality of life for everybody as we go forward. Ultimately, as I explained to the residents, that the economy drives the timing of development. During our meeting, I also shared how the road impact fee ordinance works for the city, and there's not a collector road serving the Chadwell site. I also shared some of the capital improvement projects in the immediate area that will enhance roadway capacity that the Board of Mayor and Aldermen have already approved. And I also shared that the new joint county EMS and city fire hall is just across the interstate. If there's any other questions, I'll be happy to answer them. Thank you.
We're still in the public hearing phase, and here's the plan. I have some people are actually here tonight. I have 5 speakers, and I'm going to ask them to, I'm going to recognize them to speak first. Then if there's anybody on the phone, I'll recognize them. And then last, we've had a number of emails that have been mailed to us for public comment. And so we will follow those. I would ask for those either on the phone or those that are speaking publicly, if the person just prior to you has said what you're going to say, it's okay to say, I agree with them, and then move on. As far as time, I would like for these comments to be no more than 2 minutes and closer to 1 minute if possible. So the first person is, are you ready, Linnea?
Yes.
Is Alexandria. And do you have a last name, Alexandria? Ferris. So go ahead, Alexandria.
Thank you. To the City of Franklin of Alderman, we, the residents of Stream Valley, are coming to you with a concern. We have previously reviewed evidence of the thoughtful planning that was put in place for Stream Valley, and we welcome the Chadwell development. However, we need to emphasize the safety hazard and risk that our neighborhood is facing. Currently, there are 2 entry-exit points to the neighborhood, as Mr. Vernon mentioned, Stream Valley and Bushnell Farms. These 2 entrances currently have an average of 600 residents, construction traffic, and future apartment residents. Both points of access feed into Lewisburg Pike. In addition, you have Southbrook applying for a rezoning, which will also have access through Lewisburg Pike. And that is an already heavily congested 2-lane road in Ward 3. During phase 1, there will be a 3rd point of access, which was mentioned as well, for emergency use. However, it still connects into Lewisburg Pike, and it continues to front load all the traffic coming through Bushnell Road and Stream Valley Boulevard. Even if the certificate of occupancy of the removal of the temporary entrance, it will continue to have the bulk of the traffic in the same areas. With the construction of the Mandolin Apartments, which will be heavily populated and estimated at around 400 people, the traffic is to increase significantly. Ryan Homes will complete the construction, and the traffic studies, to our understanding, didn't portray the blocking of the streets by construction workers and moving trucks. They also don't portray the regular traffic flow on Lewisburg Pike. And the study, again, to our understanding, was made during COVID times when most people were working from home. Having the connection to Goose Creek Bypass in phase 1 onto Lacey Vale versus eventually will help minimize the risk in case of emergencies for the residents of Stream Valley and people traveling down to Lewisburg Pike. To summarize, the phases just explained by Mr. Vernon do not have a construction timeline associated. Therefore, they do not give an adequate future safety to the estimated 1,000 residents that we're currently holding. We would like our concerns to be taken into account as our livability is at stake, our roads are compromised, and the risk to our safety increased. Please understand our urgency of the need to have Lacey Vale Way open at the beginning of phase 1. Thank you.
Thank you. Next will be Kay Matthews. Follow Linnea.
You're just going to speak right into there. Okay. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. I live in Stream Valley and have for the last 5.5 years. And what I would like to ask you is to imagine this room completely full of people. And it's time to go to work. And we all pop in our cars and we try to get out that door. And with all of the development that's going on in Stream Valley, we're going to have a log jam. We already have a bit of a log jam, and we will continue to have more. So as development grows in our neighborhood, could you please give us a 3rd access? That's all. I know it's expensive, and I know that what's going to cost maybe $8 million now is going to cost twice that in 10 years. So please give us an opportunity.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next is Paul Havlicek.
You're gonna speak right into there.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, gentlemen. I support everything that's been previously said. I'd just like to add one thing. I live at 1011 Linden Isle. I was one of the first houses on that street, and I've watched the development. My biggest problem right now, and I don't have small children anymore, are the small children. The park for the children is on that street. The pool is on that street. And I watch the children all day long going up and down in the street, and you know, small children, they don't watch what they're doing. I watch the dump trucks going up and down, and they have no idea what 25 miles an hour is. Back and forth and back and forth. I look at that new entrance that they're talking about, and they're still going to be coming in Lewisburg and driving through the neighborhood. They come in both entrances, depending upon what direction they're traveling. And that's what I'm adding. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Thank you, sir. Next is Nancy O'Leary.
Just speak right into there.
Hello, my name is Nancy O'Leary, and I live in Stream Valley on Oglethorpe Drive. My premise is how multiple outlets leading to various access roads can save many lives. My personal concern dates back to the 2010 flood, when we lived in Fieldstone Farms near the Harpeth Creek. As some might remember, the creek crusted and water rose up in homes and onto streets to heights well over 4 feet. My neighbors and I moved quickly to evacuate children and pets before we were trapped by floodwater. The various exit and entry points in Fieldstone Farms allowed those rescuers the access needed to assist, load, and move us to higher ground, and we were grateful for these options. Hours later, I received a call from the Franklin Fire Marshal, Andy King. He informed me that a fire, more specifically an explosion, completely destroyed our home located on 3018 Burlington Pass. I share this because I later learned that 8 fire units and 30 firemen from various stations were on the scene to help control that blaze, which burned for a little over 5.5 hours. At the time, each unit had to navigate how they could reach the targeted area in light of several major county roads increasing by flooding. Again, they had options. My husband and I have since relocated, but are concerned that in the event of an emergency, the residents of Stream Valley, as well as the first responders, may have a difficult time in navigating an influx of traffic that all enters and exits onto one 2-lane Lewisburg Pike Road. Therefore, we are asking that you please consider opening the Lazy Vale Road during phase 1 of Chadwell's development, so that in times of crisis, emergencies, or city order to evacuate, we can efficiently and effectively leave our community of Stream Valley as needed on behalf of our family's safety. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Patricia Ransley.
You're just gonna speak into there?
Okay. Good evening. Thank you for listening to all our residents here. I am a Stream Valley resident, and I'm showing support. Our concern and my concern is about the safety while the development continues, because day-to-day living, what we've heard before, traffic is heavy, especially in the morning. We had a fire just I think was a week ago. A lot of people, a lot of congestion on some of our streets. So, and with the children, there's a lot more children now. So that's our concern. Thank you very much.
So we'll now move on to
We'll now move on to anyone that's on the phone that wants to speak to item number 7.
Hello?
On the line,
Can you hear me?
callers on the line, if you want, make sure you say your name and your address, and just be aware of the others on the line, and try to give each other turns. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Michael. I live on 2000 Fernshaw. First of all, I really appreciate you guys setting this forum and allowing us to air our concerns. First, I'd like to just point out and reiterate, on social media right now, on Facebook and on YouTube, we have nearly 100 concerned citizens from our neighborhood coming on here to really have you reconsider what I heard many times was phases and the eventuality of providing a lifeline to this neighborhood. As I walked around this neighborhood this evening just to ask people if they were interested in joining online to have the discussion, there was sheer surprise from my neighbors going, "Oh wait, what, we're considering delaying it? Why would it be even reckless? This is something we naturally need." There was shock and surprise. So my question I have for you is, other than financial, is there any reason why we would need to delay this potential lifeline to the neighborhood? I live right at the crossroads at Fernshaw in Lazy Way, and I can see a straight shot of allowing people in and out of our neighborhood quickly. And please hear not only our voices that are present and have represented us very well, and also those on the phone, but over 100 citizens took time out of their entire evening to come and tell you their concern and almost their shock that we're even waiting this out. But thank you for your time.
Thank you, Michael. Is there another caller?
Hi, my name is Ashley Mulkey, and I live at 153 Stream Valley Boulevard. And I just wanted to point out that recently there was an accident on Lewisburg Pike that caused a backup of traffic for several miles. And right around that same time, it wasn't the same day, but we had a house that was struck by lightning, and we also had another house that had a fire in their attic. And I was just thinking, if emergency services were trying to get here on Lewisburg Pike during that backup that happened on Lewisburg Pike, they may not have gotten here to save someone's house or someone's life. So the occupancy rate of Stream Valley is rising by the day, and now there's a new development going in across Lewisburg Pike, and the amount of traffic all funneling out to Lewisburg is going to get overwhelming, and we urgently need access to an alternate route in and out of the neighborhood. And I'm requesting the Lazy Vale Road exit to Goose Creek Bypass be open in Chadwell's Phase 1. Thanks.
Next caller.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Amy Rooks. I'm a resident on 119 Stream Valley Boulevard. And I wanted to agree with my neighbors who have spoken earlier and also add, if you have not driven through Stream Valley recently to see the development that has happened, in particular, the two sections of Canyon Echo, as well as the area off Oglethorpe, Fernshaw, where Mandolin apartments are being built, the congestion in that particular part of the community is very, very heavy. All of those people only have exit access off to Lewisburg Pike, and they are over a mile from the Lewisburg exits from either way that you go. It's extremely dangerous in the event of an emergency that our community would be trapped in that particular section in the back. And it's very important that this access on Lazy Vale out to Goose Creek is put in at the beginning of the development of Chadwell. We're excited about Chadwell, but we need to make sure that the safety of our community is at the forefront of everyone's interest as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Amy. Next caller.
This is Matt Giesler at 4032 Fernshaw Lane here in Stream Valley. I just wanted to point out an additional thing with the new apartments coming into the Stream Valley neighborhood. We already see a tremendous amount of congestion, as people have previously stated. but we are about to see an influx of hundreds of new residents in this area. And that particular road access that would be provided in phase one that we're requesting would provide ample exit and entrance for all of those new residences and would cut down drastically the traffic on Stream Valley Boulevard. That's all.
Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Matt. Next caller.
Yes, this is Barton at 634 Streamside Lane. I'd just like to echo what my fellow residents have said. And all I'll add to that is, while there is the matter of convenience, this is more a matter of safety than anything else. Thank you all for your time.
Thank you. Next caller.
Hello, my name is Jason Wyckoff. I live at 207 Cooper Ledge Circle in the wonderful subdivision of Stream Valley. I've lived there for 5 years and I've seen house fires, neighbors having heart attacks, and even the SWAT team called. And they have all accessed Lewisburg to get to our subdivision. Everything that our wonderful neighbors have brought up earlier, I agree with. Everything that Alex Farias, who started this off, he said it succinctly. We need access Lazy Vale under phase one, because Lewisburg is becoming that choke point because of the volume of houses, apartments, subdivisions that are coming to current round, and the transformation that Lewisburg is going to go through in the coming years. Because of all this, it's going to be bumpy. So it's a matter of, do we want to roll the dice and bet on Lewisburg, or do we want to provide another access route now and not wait on developer timelines? Thank you for your consideration.
Next caller.
Hi, this is Sesha. I stay on 4055 Fernshaw Lane. So I've been here from 3.5 years, and right now, since the apartments development has started, the traffic has gone very viral. Like none of the construction workers, they stop at the stop sign. So literally we need to keep, and they pass on, we need to keep the boards, like we love our kids, but still they just rush on. This thing happens, just like an example. My son was riding bike yesterday. I was just beside him, and we saw a construction worker just roping like that. So it doesn't even matter whether their kid is there or not. So we have a lot of kids around the Fernshaw Lane, on the Oglethorpe, and all my neighbors who have spoke before me. The only concern is open up the third exit in the phase one of the development, so that most of the traffic will be cutting off. If not, once the apartments traffic starts fully fledged, then there will be a lot of ingoing traffic, incoming and outgoing. So there will be a traffic jams. If any emergency happens, then we are completely blocked. So this is for safety of our kids mainly. So kindly requesting to get this third exit open in the phase one as soon as possible. Thank you.
Thank you. Next caller.
This is Elizabeth Hall,
And Randy W. Hall.
and we're at 2008 Canyon Echo Drive, and we want to agree with all of our neighbors. Thank you.
Next caller. Thank you.
Mayor, this is Greg Campbell, and the applicant would like to make a statement at the appropriate time as well.
Okay, let me finish with the other phone calls. Any other phone callers want to make a comment? If not, I'm going to end that section. And so we're through with our phone.
Hello?
Yes, go ahead.
Yes, hi. This is Claudia Ferrero. I'm on 4050 Fernshaw Lane. And I want to echo everything that my my neighbors said, especially the safety piece. I have a 17-month-old. I've seen, how long it takes for the emergency vehicles to come through the new section through Lewisburg Pike, echoing one of the examples that happened with the lightning strike. And also with the construction workers, I mean, they just drive very fast. They go against the on the roundabout the wrong way. They don't care if there are kids playing on the street. On my street, we had to put up signs that says, "Hey, please drive carefully because we love our kids." So having that additional entrance would be better for safety reasons to better manage the construction workers as well as the apartment traffic. So I would really appreciate if you consider the petition that my neighbors and I are really doing on this topic. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else on the phone?
Yes, it's Michael once again. I just have another follow-up question. Alexandra brought up a great point of the occupancy reports being done during time of COVID.
You've already had your chance to speak. That's not our policy to let people continue to speak again and again and whenever they want to. So is there anybody else on the phone that has not spoken to this matter? Okay, we're through with the phone call segment. I'm sorry, is there another person?
Yeah, we are from Stream Valley. We would like to chip in as well.
Is that the end of your comments?
Yeah, you guys can hear us?
Yes, go ahead with your comments, name, address, please.
Yeah, my name is Egapan Ramaya. We live in 201 Cooper Ledge Circle, and we want to echo our neighbors. We want to have another exit where we don't have to lead to Lewisburg Pike and be caught with any emergencies. Thank you.
Okay, go ahead, caller. Okay, we'll now go to the email section.
This is from Wesley Wooden, 113 Stream Valley Boulevard. My name is Wes Wooden. I'm a resident of Stream Valley. I welcome the neighboring Chadwell development, but I'm concerned that the construction of a connector road at Lazy Vale Way through Chadwell has not been confirmed for phase 1 of the development. Construction of this critical connector road from Stream Valley to Goose Creek Bypass is important for 2 main reasons. Emergency access to Lewisburg Pike. All other connector roads for Stream Valley lead to Lewisburg Pike, which is a 2-lane road. If that road was not accessible due to an accident or other issue, then emergency vehicles could not access their rapidly growing neighborhood in a timely manner. Neighbors would also not be able to exit the neighborhood in emergency situations where Lewisburg were to become inaccessible. Number 2 is traffic mitigation. My wife, 5-year-old, and I live in Stream Valley Boulevard on the exit side of the boulevard. As our neighborhood grows, so does the traffic on our little boulevard. Soon a large apartment development will be completed, putting a strain not only on our road, but all the other connector roads, and critically the 2-lane Lewisburg Pike. We will soon be facing daily traffic gridlock and potential accidents around our neighborhood. Additionally, this poses a safety hazard for our little ones who play in areas abutting the busy roads. In summary, the Lazy Valley Way connector is a critical pressure relief valve and emergency thoroughfare for our rapidly growing neighborhood for the reasons mentioned above. It is imperative that construction of the connector road occur as soon as possible in phase 1. This is from Nancy O'Leary, 2025 Oglethorpe Drive. I'm a resident in the townhomes of Stream Valley. I'm informing you of this because of my concern for the amount of time that it takes us and other residents to drive from the rear of the development to the entrance or exit on Lewisburg Pike. We are currently looking at a 5 to 8 minutes, depending. This may not seem like much to you, but in a case of emergency, is an eternity.
Let me stop you right there. Ms. O'Leary came and testified in person.
Oh, thank you. If there's any others you catch, sir, feel free to interrupt me. This is from Lauren Riley, I'm writing to express concern for the potential delay of an exit in our neighborhood into Goose Creek Bypass. We desperately need an exit into Goose Creek Bypass due to a large number of neighborhoods going up around us and the current dependency on Lewisburg Pike as the only entry exit point. We cannot give all entry exits on Lewisburg as population rises. If that road becomes blocked, there will be no options for emergency access for our neighborhood. Additionally, the traffic flow will with increased neighborhoods and people will worsen. Please approve the development of the Goose Creek Lazy Vale entry exit for Stream Valley as part of phase 1 development of the Chadwell project. This is extremely important for the safety and well-being of Stream Valley residents and those in the surrounding area. This is from Julia Widman, 5002 Rockport Avenue. I'm a resident of Stream Valley and would like to plead to have the entry exit onto Goose Creek bypassed with the Chadwell development. Safety is my main concern. We built our house almost 6 years ago, and the growth in this area has been extreme. The traffic on Lewisburg Pike keeps increasing more and more each year. The development of these new subdivisions instead of farms and horses will increase the traffic even more. Lewisburg seems to have a lot of accidents anyhow without this increase of traffic. I worry about getting out of my subdivision in an emergency. Currently, both exits go onto Lewisburg, which does not help if that street is blocked. Please consider this exit onto Goose Creek due to safety of the growing residents of Franklin in this area. This need is dire at this time to help ensure rescue vehicles can arrive in a timely manner. Zach and Ashley Mulkey, as residents of 153 Stream Valley Boulevard in the neighborhood of Stream Valley since 2013, we would like to voice a request. Please,
did they
do
called in?
Perfect. Brad Hayden. I am writing this as a concerned resident of Stream Valley, where my wife and I and our 3 young kids very peacefully reside. I'm asking that the Lazy Vale Road exit into Goose Creek bypass be opened up as a first priority during the Chadwell Phase 1 development. Not having this exit available from the very beginning of the development construction poses a huge risk for the safety of our residents and our children. We have first-hand experience living directly on the boulevard of the increased traffic and increased danger already due to the developments that are happening in such close proximity. This has concentrated traffic through our one main exit, creating a dangerous thoroughfare of careless construction traffic, and we as parents fear for the safety of our kids. Hundreds of people in the neighborhood have already signed multiple petitions regarding this concern. Please hear us and prioritize the concerns of families over the financial concerns of developers. This is Sean Smith, 155 Stream Valley Boulevard. This is regarding the Chadwell development and our need to have new entry exit from within our Stream Valley community onto Goose Creek bypass. We have enlarged our community in a dire need that if in the instance that there is an emergency, personal or citywide, or an evacuation order is deemed necessary, we have to have more than one option in addition to Lewisburg Pike. We have several developments which are to be built in such close proximity, and all our entrances and exits feed onto Lewisburg Pike, one lane in each direction with no other possibility. If there are any emergencies or even life-threatening circumstances, emergency vehicles have no other way or option to enter or exit our community. This is a huge safety concern for all residents and current and future residents. The need is immediate and dire. We do not seek this for convenience reasons. We are pleading for the safety of our families. We kindly urge the opening of the Lazy Vale Road exit onto Goose Creek bypass during the Chadwell Phase 1 development. Claudia Smith at 155 Stream Valley Boulevard. This is regarding the Chadwell development and our need to have a new entry or exit from within our Stream Valley community on Goose Creek bypass. We kindly urge the opening of the Lazy Vale Road exit onto Goose Creek bypass during the Chadwell Phase 1 development. We have enlarged our community to a dire need, especially with the opening of an apartment complex, that if in the instance that there's an emergency, personal or citywide, or an evacuation order is deemed necessary, we have to have more than one option in addition to Lewisburg Pike, which commonly backs up during peak times. We have several developments being built in such close proximity, and all our entrances and exits feed on Lewisburg Pike, one lane in each direction with no other possibility. If there are emergencies or even life-threatening circumstances, emergency vehicles have no other way or option to exit or entrance. This is a huge safety concern for all current and future residents, all the surrounding communities. The need is immediate and dire. Steve Cunningham, 1010 Linden Isle Drive. I'm writing to plea for your consideration to please open during phase 1 of development the road located at Lazy Vale connecting to Chadwell into Goose Creek Bypass. I appreciate all the planning and effort put into this development. We want to highlight the risk that current plan connects all entry/exit roads onto Lewisburg Pike, which could potentially leave us trapped where there is no chance to get in or out of the neighborhood in the event Lewisburg Pike gets backed up. In addition to Chadwell, we have South Brook being developed as well, and it'll be the same situation. They will only be able to connect onto Lewisburg Pike. I appreciate your consideration. This is Tessa Jordan. I'm writing to express my concern and urgent request to have you consider the timeline for the connection of Stream Valley Goose Creek through Lazy Vale Road. Currently, it is not on the timeline to be added until phase 4, which could be years from now. I urge you to reconsider and move this forward to phase 1. Stream Valley is a large community, and we have the additional apartments that will be opening shortly. These apartments bring value to the Franklin and affordable housing, but also brings a lot more traffic. Currently, our neighborhood only has 2 exits on Lewisburg. Anytime there's an accident on 65 or 840, the traffic on Lewisburg has come to a standstill. This could become a major issue if there was a fire emergency in our neighborhood. Please consider this for safety of our community. Barton and Jennifer Adams. We are residents of Stream Valley with the new construction happening to the south of us and construction soon to begin north and to the west of us, along with the addition of the apartments in the back of Stream Valley. It is imperative that Lazy Vale Road be included in phase 1 of the Chadwell development construction. The tremendous amount of traffic that is going to be moved through the neighborhood without Lazy Vale Road and the connection to Goose Creek poses significant danger to all residents of Stream Valley. Beyond the sheer volume of traffic, not having access to another artery other than Lewisburg poses significant risk to all who reside in Stream Valley. Please include Lazy Vale Road in phase 1. Elizabeth Gerhart Thompson and Michael Thompson. We are residents of Stream Valley with 3 small children, one of whom has serious medical conditions. We are empathetically requesting that this connection from Stream Valley onto the proposed Lazy Vale Road directly to the Goose Creek Bypass be done immediately before the Chadwell development begins construction. This is not simply a matter of convenience, but a matter of emergency access. If our daughter requires medical attention, we can't afford to wait for traffic. We need to act quickly and get her to Vanderbilt Children's Hospital where her surgical team can begin treating her. If traffic is backed up, this takes life-saving minutes off the clock for her. This direct access to the Goose Creek Bypass could mean life or death for her. It is an important piece of infrastructure should receive priority before the massive construction project begins to maintain the flow of traffic in and out of the neighborhood. Lewisburg Pike is not wide enough for everyday traffic, and if there is an accident on 65 or 840, Lewisburg is the alternate route for local traffic. In any case of large-scale development, the infrastructure needs to be in place before construction begins so it is not to disrupt the daily lives of the residents already living in the surrounding areas. Your loyal constituents and current taxpayers. Kevin Dickey, as a resident, we are concerned with the safety of Stream Valley as a result of not having another entrance connected to Goose Creek. We live on Stream Valley Boulevard and have firsthand experience of increased traffic along the Stream Valley Boulevard that compromises the safety of our children and other residents. Sorry, excuse me. In the unfortunate event of a need to evacuate the area, it would be impossible to get all the residents out safely. In the event that the street was blocked, it would be nearly impossible. It is also difficult for emergency vehicles to get in and out of the area quickly, and is almost impossible for a big truck to pass on the one-way street, even if the cars were to pull over to the right. Our safety is being compromised by the developers delaying the building of the road connecting Stream Valley and the other developments to Goose Creek Bypass. We ask that building the road be given priority by the developers and happen before Chadwell development begins construction. We ask the City of Franklin to take our concerns seriously. Ignoring them would be neglecting the safety of our families and residents. This is from Becky Wood. My name is Becky Wood. I live in Stream Valley. My family is concerned about the situation with Lazy Vale Road, exit onto Goose Creek Bypass. When we first moved here in 2015, there were talks about a second exit for the neighborhood that would exit onto Goose Creek Bypass. Years later, we did finally get a second exit, but it was right next to the first one on Lewisburg Pike. I've seen the traffic that can back up on Lewisburg Pike on a normal day. I can't imagine what the evacuation would look like for everyone in our neighborhood trying to get out in the same direction on Lewisburg Pike. We don't have stoplights on either entrance or exit, so we would all be trapped in the neighborhood. The multiple additional neighborhoods that have been approved right around Stream Valley will only compound the issue. Please take our concerns to the safety of our residents into consideration and agree to open the Lazy Vale Road on Goose Creek bypass during Chadwell Phase 1. Emily Grimsley, I am writing to you as a resident of Stream Valley subdivision. I am very worried about the news that even with all the construction planned in and out our neighborhood on Lewisburg, there is not an immediate plan to create an exit to our subdivision that empties onto Goose Creek. This is potentially a life-threatening danger that the city could easily rectify by ensuring this exit be created. If Lewisburg is blocked and backed up, how will we exit our neighborhood? More importantly, how will emergency vehicles access our neighborhood? Our neighbors are worried. We are scared. Please don't wait in an indeterminate amount of time to put in this potentially life-saving road. Again, it is not a matter of increased convenience. It's a matter of necessary community safety. Tiffany Mara, I'm a resident of Stream Valley subdivision, and I am writing regarding the Chadwell development. My family and my neighbors' request is to have a new road connecting our community to Goose Creek bypass. We cannot accept that an additional entrance or exit will be added eventually. It needs to be added now. Our subdivision keeps adding more residents with additional townhomes, houses, and apartments. In addition to new residents, we have construction workers, lawn service trailers, moving trucks, and other contractors and equipment frequently congesting our streets. With all the growth, it no longer makes sense to have only 2 entrances and exits into the neighborhood out to Lewisburg Pike. We love living in Franklin, especially in a storybook community like Stream Valley. We used to live in Spring Hill, which is famous for its poor infrastructure and city planning. Moving here felt safe and accessible. We love to see how much other people want to join our community, but we assumed more exits would be added to accommodate the residents in the area developed. Now we are very concerned if there was an emergency or an evacuation order was issued, how we would get the help that we need. Lewisburg Pike is a 2-lane road that easily could be blocked with high traffic. Please add Lazy Vale Road out to Goose Creek bypass with nearby interstate access. This additional road could be life-saving. These pleas are not out of convenience, but out of safety concerns for the welfare of our community. Hannah Farmer at 3035 Oglethorpe Drive. I would like to ask you to consider your current stance of eventually on the Lazy Vale Road construction for Phase 1 of the Chadwell development. I kindly ask instead that you would move it up immediately to protect our residents and continue to provide the type of access needed for a neighborhood of our size. As a current resident, I can verify that traffic in and out of the neighborhood is already heavy. With hundreds of people starting to move into the apartments at the back, it will only be worse as the year goes on. My husband commutes daily to work on Lewisburg and Goose Creek and faces daily delays routinely. Our neighborhood traffic combined with construction traffic in the new neighborhoods set to empty into Lewisburg, as they are exactly what we need to prioritize a road that goes directly to Goose Creek. As it stands, we feel unsafe knowing that Lewisburg is the only way out and that it could quickly become jammed in emergency evacuation. I'm also concerned about the ability to get necessary emergency vehicles in quickly with the new spike in residents and surrounding construction. Please solve the problem before it begins and request that Lazy Vale Road be completed to connect us to Goose Creek bypass immediately. Caitlin Bertlin, I'm emailing to request the Lazy Vale Road exit be open to Goose Creek bypass during the Chadwell Phase 1 development. With all the developments that are going to be built close to Stream Valley, it's concerning that all of them will only have access to Lewisburg Pike. Not even just the developments close to us in Stream Valley, but there's also a lot of traffic from people who live in Thompson Station that exit Goose Creek and take Lewisburg. If the Lazy Vale Road is not built, it is a safety issue for all the residents of these developments. Traffic will be insane, and in the event of medical emergency or life-threatening situation, it will be difficult for emergency vehicles to get there. Please hear our concerns. We don't just want this for convenience. It is for the safety of the residents here and now and in the future. Thank you for taking time. This is Britton Burton. Hello, I'm a resident of Stream Valley, and I would like to voice my support for building the Lazy Vale Road exit onto Goose Creek bypass during the Chadwell Phase 1 development. It is unsafe during any kind of emergency situation to only have one-way access into the neighborhood. As this neighborhood grows and the apartments finish and gain residents, there will be thousands living in Stream Valley with Lewisburg Pike serving as an entry point. That entry point happens to be as far away as it can possibly be from the back of the neighborhood where hundreds of new residents are pouring in. This seems like an unnecessary risk that can be mitigated by building the second entry point. Additionally, as more developments spring up all the way down Lewisburg Pike, traffic is going to become more and more of a problem in the area. We are seeing the consequences of poor long-term traffic planning from several years ago manifest itself now all across Franklin as the population of Middle Tennessee explodes. Adding this exit to Goose Creek bypass is an opportunity to take a logical, practical step now that will save headaches in the future and reduce traffic as the area continues to grow. Craig Sutton, 1006 Linden Isle Drive. Williamson County and Franklin, Tennessee should recognize that residents deserve to be provided safe egress from their homes and community. Also, the law enforcement officers and emergency medical and fire department personnel deserve to have unhindered multiple point access to safely protect all the residents of Williamson County. Please require that there will be first phase access into Chadwell development from Lazy Vale Way running north to Goose Creek bypass. Thank you. Eddie Hill, 144 Stream Valley Boulevard. I'm a resident in the neighborhood of Stream Valley. I'm informing you of this because my concern for the amount of time that it takes residents to drive from the rear of the development to the entrance or exit on Lewisburg Pike. We are currently looking at a 5 to 8 minutes depending. I'm not just saying this from the view of someone looking for more convenience. This may not seem like much to you, but a case of emergency is an eternity. If ever there were to be an evacuation order or mass exodus, we would be trapped. Please understand that with the growth of Stream Valley, we need to feel that if we needed to, we could get out of the neighborhood quickly and safely. Currently, there are only 2 exits from the neighborhood, both exit into Lewisburg Pike. If there is ever another need for a mass exodus, not to mention if Lewisburg Pike is backed up due to traffic conditions, an accident, or other emergency, then this is a given that the emergency vehicles that need to get through won't be able to reach us in a timely manner. All this is to say that the endeavor to grow Franklin is one decision the city makes without our voices being heard. Please don't let it be for the sake of our safety. I am told there's a solution, but it only offers peace of mind if we know that you will help us now. Please open up the Lazy Vale Road on the Goose Creek bypass during phase 1 of the Chadwell. Last one, Jessica Smith. She lives on Brook Park Avenue in Stream Valley subdivision. My family is concerned about the situation with Lazy Vale Road exit onto Goose Creek bypass. When we first moved here in 2015, there were talks about a second exit for the neighborhood that would exit onto Goose Creek bypass. This was a reason we decided to move forward with building here. Years later, we did finally get a second exit, but it was right next to the first one on Lewisburg Pike. I've seen the traffic that can back up on Lewisburg Pike on a normal day, and sometimes it's hard to get my children to and from school. Speaking on children, I'm also highly concerned about the amount of traffic that we'll have to pass on our main streets just because there isn't another entrance. My children are responsible and look out for trucks, but construction workers are not always as respectful. There have been multiple times where construction vehicles have blatantly run stop signs and put children's lives in danger. Another entrance would help alleviate the need for all construction vehicles to go in and out only one way. I can't imagine what it'll look like with everyone from our neighborhood, apartments and townhomes and homes, trying to get out in the same direction on Lewisburg Pike. We don't have stoplights on either entrance, so we would be trapped in the neighborhood. The multiple additional neighborhoods that have been approved right around Stream Valley will only make this issue worse. Please take our concerns and safety of our residents into consideration and agree to open the Lazy Vale Road to Goose Creek bypass during Chadwell phase 1. That is all, sir.
Thank you. I think Mr. Gamble wanted to make a comment during the public hearing segment. So
thank you, Mayor and Alderman. And my name is Greg Gamble. Adam wants to make a comment as well. We appreciate the opportunity to talk to you tonight. There are 2 engineering aspects that are reviewed with extreme scrutiny, even at a development plan level, and that's stormwater and offsite traffic. As you all are very aware, Chadwell, Berry Farms, as well as Southbrook and South Vale are all being considered in this area along Lewisburg Pike. When Southbrook was brought to you initially, and when it was approved, the traffic study was based upon pre-COVID during school counts. And so that information that was collected then has been transferred over to today's counts for traffic impact studies. But what it showed is that the intersection of Goose Creek Bypass and Lewisburg Pike needed to be built out to its full extent. There's now an agreement in place between Southbrook and the city of Franklin to complete that intersection to add 6 new turning lanes. And that's to be constructed when Southbrook's at 50%. So it's currently under construction with the area south of Stream Valley. And part of that construction is a third access point from Stream Valley out to Lewisburg Pike. Now, developments occur in phases. Developments occur as the market is ready to accept that next phase of development. And there's no one that you've heard from tonight that wants Chadwell to build out faster, I promise you, than Boyle. However, they're going to have to build it out incrementally. The very first thing they're going to construct is a construction access from Goose Creek Bypass into Chadwell. That's where 100% of the construction access is going to come from, not through Stream Valley. Now, early in the development process, there will be an emergency gravel drive that will be constructed over to Stream Valley. There are some requirements and triggers as to when that emergency access is constructed to the Stream Valley gates. However, that area needs to remain gated. There is a conflict between construction traffic that occurs during phase 1 and phase 2 of Berry Farms and the residential traffic of Stream Valley. Now, when Southvale moves forward in their traffic study, they're to put in a traffic signal at Stream Valley's main access point when the warrants are met. These things are being planned right now in concert as these developments are being proposed by the City of Franklin engineers, the third-party traffic reviewers, and all of this is being taken into consideration. Again, no one wishes more than Boyle that Chadwell could just be constructed overnight and be up and running and economically feasible for development. We want to create a development here at Chadwell that is extremely successful. And we have worked with the City of Franklin traffic engineers, civil engineers, as well as fire and emergency services to have a plan moving forward. And appreciate Vernon's words early on, kind of explaining the process that we've been through with the City of Franklin. Adam?
Thank you, Greg. This is Adam Balish with Boyle. I appreciate the commentary from everybody. I actually had a comment that was totally unrelated to traffic, so I'm happy to come back to this later. But at our BOMA work session last month, we had, I think, a very good conversation with regard to the modification of standards that were being requested and presented to you all this evening. One of those was for a modification of signage that was being recommended by staff and Planning Commission. And the second one was for a modification of architectural design guidelines to allow some variety to take place on the commercial storefronts. I simply wanted to remind everyone of that conversation as you vote this evening. Would be happy to answer any questions, but as Alderman Schroer and Berger and others discussed at our work session, we do feel like it would be a setting that would be appropriate for an urban mixed-use project, and I'm happy to answer any questions on that when the time comes for you to discuss that.
Okay, I'm going to close this public hearing and I'll entertain a motion.
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion, please.
Okay, go ahead.
I would like to approve the resolution 2021-06 with the acceptance of both the modification number 1 and modification number 2.
Usually, Alderman Schroer, what we typically do is do a motion to get the resolution on the floor, and then we will vote individually on each one of the modification of standards. I'm looking at Shauna. Is that
my motion is an appropriate motion?
I don't think you get to make the motion and rule on its appropriateness at the same time.
Well, I can. You may not agree with it.
Shauna, can you weigh in on that?
Well, each of the modification of standards is kind of like an amendment to the motion, to the main motion. The main motion is to approve, and then we treat the motion or the modifications of standards as amendments because they do amend technically the development plan as, but if you want, if that's your motion, you can make that motion, and if it gets seconded, you can vote on it.
I'll second it because I agree.
But you,
okay. And I have a question on that then, on the motion. I'm on that.
Let's let Shauna finish her explanation, please.
Listen to your parliamentarian, please.
Yeah, you really should treat these though as individual. They're kind of like individual items. And you should have separate and distinct discussion on each of them.
Mm-hmm. So question. So if that is the case.
Okay, we now have a second and we're now open to discussion.
But wait.
And I'll go back to who, I'm sorry.
Point of order here.
Point of order.
Do we have a proper motion and second or not?
Technically, you do have a proper motion to just approve the resolution by also then approving modification 1 and modification 2, if I understand John's motion correctly. Communication and discussion will be tricky because you've got different items to talk about.
I'd like to speak to the motion and the second right now. I'd like to speak to those, Mr. Mayor. I have a comment.
I'll give you a moment. I want to make sure Shauna's finished her comment.
Right. Well, backing forward or going forward from Shauna's comment, I can't support this because I would like to have each of the amendments separate by themselves because I might want to vote for and against one amendment. I might want to vote against another amendment. So I won't support this one.
Right. By doing it this way, you have to, if you don't like one of the modifications of standards, you actually have to deny the whole development plan rather than approving the development plan, but maybe disapproving a modification of standard. The only way to do it is to disapprove the whole thing.
Would it be helpful if
Mayor,
I
have a
withdrew my
motion.
second?
I'll recognize Alderman McClendon. Is this an amendment to the motion?
It is, Your Honor.
Okay.
Mayor, I move that the motion that has been made and seconded be amended as follows. I move that the motion be stripped of the 2 modification of standards so that we may vote first on separate motions to amend it with one or the other of those standards.
I'll second that.
Okay, any discussion on the amendment to strip the 2 modification of standards from Alderman Schroer's motion?
The only reason I'm making this motion is to fix what I perceive to be a parliamentary problem so that we may then go back and address each of those modification of standards separately and get the will of the board expressed as to each of them separately.
Correct.
Any other?
And I still
Mayor.
agree with that.
Go ahead, Alderman Barnhill.
The will of the board would be to accept those 2 modifications of standards if you voted on the motion as is presented. That's the will of the board. Now, if you're going to go back and do a modification on something other, I've always thought that the modification of standards probably should be included in the motion. They're in there now. Now, if we were to come in and make an amendment tonight and amend something other, then that should be discussed and that should be voted on. But I've really and truly, I've never thought that, and it's just a matter of a few more minutes to vote on the modification of standards. I don't mind voting on them separate. I'm going to support the 2 modification of standards. And therefore, I support the motion, the original motion as it was presented.
Any other discussion on the amendment to strip the 2 modification of standards from the original motion?
Yes.
Not, we'll move. Go ahead, Vice Mayor.
I'd like to still reiterate the reason I will support the motion, Dana's motion to strip it, because I very well may like to vote for one of those modification standards, and I very, very well may like to vote against one of them as well. Thank you.
I too, Mayor.
I too what, Margaret? Alderman Martin.
I too am going to vote against one of the modifications of standards.
I understand. Thank you. Well, we'll go ahead and vote on the amendment to strip the 2 modification of standards. Alderman Barnhill.
No.
Alderman Martin.
Yes.
Alderman Schroer.
No.
Alderman Speedy.
No.
Alderman McClendon.
Yes.
Alderman Blanton.
No.
Alderman Peterson.
Yes.
And Vice Mayor Berger.
Yes.
And we have a 4-4 vote, so I vote yes that we strip the 2 modification of standards from the original motion. So the motion
Someone write that
passed.
down. The mayor just voted with me on a tie. 24 years.
I'm not sure what to say about that, Alderman McClendon.
Too late. You said yes.
Oh, no, I'm not changing my vote. So we'll now go back to the original motion as amended. Any discussion on the original motion as amended?
Now is when somebody can properly
Yes, I
add
was
one
going
of
to say.
those modifications.
I move to approve modifications 1.
Second.
I think we have to
You do.
go back and vote on the original
that's not-
motion
that's
as
not right.
amended.
Yep.
You got it.
Yeah.
Wait.
Amended.
Well,
Well, my understanding is we voted on the amendment, and now we're voting on the original motion.
I'd like to amend the.
Hang on just a second, Alderman Peterson. I'm getting some consultation.
The modification is your amendment. So you're back to the base motion. Modification 1 is like an amendment. Then you'll go to modification 2. So you're good.
Okay, good. Okay, I'll recognize Alderman Peterson, who made some kind of motion there.
Make a motion to amend to approve modification 1.
And I second that.
Modification standard.
Okay, appropriate motion to approve modification standard 1, seconded by Alderman Martin. Is there any discussion on that? Ready to vote? Alderman Barnhill.
Yes.
Alderman Martin.
Yes.
Alderman Schroer.
Yes.
Alderman Speedy.
Yes.
Alderman McClendon.
Yes.
Alderman Blanton.
Yes.
Alderman Peterson.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Berger.
Yes.
Okay, passes unanimously. Modification of standard number 1. Modification of standard number 2.
Mayor, I move that we accept modification standard number 2.
Second.
Appropriate motion seconded. Any discussion on modification of standard 2?
I won't be supporting modification standard 2. I just want to speak to that.
Thank you. Any other comments?
No, well,
Ready? Thank you, Alderman Martin. Any other discussion? Seeing none, let's vote. Alderman Barnhill.
Yes.
Alderman Martin.
no.
Alderman Schroer.
Yes.
Alderman Speedy.
Yes.
Alderman McClendon.
Yes.
Alderman Blanton.
Yes.
Alderman Peterson.
Yes.
And Vice Mayor Berger.
No.
Passes 6-2. We'll now go back to the original motion with the 2 approved modification of standards. Is there any discussion on it? If not, we'll go ahead and vote. Alderman Barnhill.
Yes.
Alderman Martin.
Yes.
Alderman Schroer.
Yes.
Alderman Speedy.
Yes.
Alderman McClendon.
Yes.
Alderman Blanton,
Yes.
Alderman Peterson,
Yes.
and Vice Mayor Berger.
Yes.
Okay, passes unanimously. We'll now go to item number 8, which is City of Franklin Contract 2021-0040, an agreement for reimbursement of costs for sanitary sewer collection system for the Chadwell Partnership PUD. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
Thank you, Alderman Barnhill. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Alderman Schroer. Any discussion? Ready to vote? Alderman Barnhill.
Yes.
Alderman Martin.
Yes.
Alderman Schroer.
Yes.
Alderman Speedy.
Yes.
Alderman McClendon.
Yes.
Alderman Blanton.
Yes.
Alderman Peterson.
Yes.
And Vice Mayor Berger.
Yes.
Item 9, contract number 2021-0009, Parkland Impact Fee Agreement with Chadwell Partnership for Chadwell PUD subdivision. Is there a motion?
Move for approval.
Thank you, Alderman Berger. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Alderman Martin. Any discussion? Ready to vote? Alderman Barnhill.
Yes.
Alderman Martin.
Yes.
Alderman Schroer.
Yes.
Alderman Speedy.
Yes.
Alderman McClendon.
Yes.
Alderman Blanton.
Yes.
Alderman Peterson.
Yes.
And Vice Mayor Berger.
Yes.
Okay, item 10, City of Franklin Contract 2021-0020, Road Impact Fee Reimbursement Agreement with Chadwell Partnership in the amount of $1,334,802. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Alderman Schroer. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Alderman Blanton. Any discussion? Ready to vote? Alderman Barnhill.
Yes.
Alderman Martin.
Yes.
Alderman Schroer.
Yes.
Alderman Speedy.
Yes.
Alderman McClendon.
Yes.
Alderman Blanton.
Yes.
Alderman Peterson.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Berger.
Yes.
Passes unanimously. Next is item 11, ordinance 2021-04, an ordinance to rezone 13.81 acres from the state residential district to plan district for the property located west of Hill Haven Lane and north of Arsenal Drive, located at 171 Hill Haven Lane, Hill Haven PUD subdivision. Establish a public hearing for May the 11th, 2021. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, Alderman Martin. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Alderman Peterson. Any discussion? Let's vote. Alderman Barnhill.
Yes.
Alderman Martin.
Yes.
Alderman Schroer.
Yes.
Alderman Speedy.
Yes.
Alderman McClendon.
Yes.
Alderman Blanton.
Yes.
Alderman Peterson.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Berger.
Yes.
Passes unanimously. Item number 12, consideration ordinance 2020-36, an ordinance to rezone 35.36 acres from PD district to plan PD 0.17 per 14,300 district for the property located south of Spencer Creek Road and north of Machatcher Parkway, located at 285 Spencer Creek Road, establishing a public hearing for May the 11th, 2021. Is there a motion?
Move for approval.
Second, Mayor.
Seconded by Alderman Barnhill. Any discussion?
Mayor,
Go ahead, Alderman Shore.
I'd like to make a motion that we postpone the vote on this until the city receives an approved lease from the proposed lessee. And I will do the same thing on the next motion. I think that's something that we need to have done before we go ahead and rezone this property. Let's make sure that they're going to go forward with it with an agreement that we have.
Appropriate motion to postpone. Is there a second?
Mayor, we do need a date certain, so maybe 30 days. If that's good, and if we're not done, we can push it out another 30 days.
To
Okay.
a specific meeting date, not just 30 days.
Right, so two meetings would be
May 11th.
May 11th.
You can move to a specific action, not a specific date. But
it keeps it on our radar.
that's okay. I'll make a motion that we postpone till what did you say, the second meeting?
May the 11th.
Let's do the second meeting in May.
May the 25th.
Yeah.
Is there a second?
Do you want me to retract my motion, Mayor?
No. He's amended the original motion, which will basically delay it. So I need a second on his motion to delay this until the May 25th meeting until the lease agreement can be completed by both parties. Is there a second?
Well, I'll second it.
Appropriate motion and second now to delay until the May 25th meeting.
Mayor, I
Any
have
discussion on that?
I have a
Go ahead,
question.
Alderman.
I have a question for staff.
Go ahead, Alderman McClendon, and then I'll recognize Alderman Barnhill after that.
I tend to agree with Alderman Schroer's sentiment that these things ought to be synced up. To that end, what will the process be when and if staff comes forward and recommends a lease agreement with this applicant? Is it one reading and done? Is it two? What does that look like?
Just one.
It's one reading. Yeah, I think you'd kind of treat it like you have a development plan, or we have road impact fee agreements that go in sync, and we put them so that they are voted on the same meeting that you have the public hearing, the second reading and public hearing.
Okay, does that answer your question, Alderman McClendon?
Yes, thank you.
Alderman Barnhill.
Mayor, maybe you can answer this then. Well, this is the first reading. So isn't it a month out before we would have the next reading? So what are we accomplishing here by deferring this until we get the contract agreement? The contract agreement is running concurrently with the first and second and third reading of the rezoning, is it not?
My interpretation is this is slowing down the rezoning.
Yeah.
To a different date is all it's doing.
If we don't have that contract next month, when the second reading comes up, if you want to slow the rezoning down, slow it down. I have no objection to that. I think they've been fooling around way too long with it myself. But what we're doing here is, this is first reading. It's not going any place until we get the second and third reading and public hearing on for this. So I see no reason,
Mr. Mayor,
no reason to defer this.
Yes,
go ahead. Maybe Eric has something there.
Yeah, it's sort of unknown because we have exchanged a couple drafts. This is the second go around. We don't know where we'll end up. And your option is either to do this, which is more specific delay, or when you come around to May 11th, if you're not comfortable, you would just need to either continue or reschedule your public hearing. You just put that back out. Either way, there is some uncertainty. If we could tell you, it'll absolutely be ready by a date certain, we could schedule the public hearing around it. But honestly, we don't know. We don't know the work that'll need to go between us and the golf course group. So I think either can work. Either way, you may end up with an uncertainty around when it's done. If you can live with the May 11th having to reschedule the public hearing based on where we best think we are then with the lease, then that can work too. And that's
I'm comfortable with either one, but they both, what we're doing here, they both accomplish the same thing. They put it off for a month. You're not going to do anything for a month on the rezoning. And that does the month for the contract negotiations if it's not there available. And I don't really care. if it's not there available for May the 11th, you can do the same thing that we're discussing right now, but we would at least have one reading involved in this and a direction in which we were going.
Was there any other discussion on Alderman Schroer's amendment?
Mr. Mayor,
Alderman Peterson? Yes, ma'am.
I think Alderman Barnhill's point is very good, because what this does is it approves something on first reading and sets the public hearing until May the 11th. And so I kind of feel like that's a month there. And then if things haven't come together, then we could postpone it at that time. I mean, it's not like this is the final decision.
Any other discussion on the amendment?
This is the notice, yeah.
So you ready to vote on the amendment, which basically moves this item to May the 25th meeting? Seeing none, let's vote. Alderman Barnhill.
I'm gonna give that a no.
Alderman Martin.
Yes.
Alderman Schroer.
Yes.
Alderman Speedy.
No.
Alderman McClendon.
No.
Alderman Blanton.
No.
Alderman Peterson.
No.
And Vice Mayor Berger. She's going to recuse
I
herself.
recused myself before.
So the motion, the amendment fails 4-3.
5-2.
5-2, Mayor, I think.
5-2, I'm sorry. I made a check where I shouldn't have. So we'll go back to, or do we want to reconsider the item?
Yes.
Go ahead.
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance 20-2020-36, an ordinance to rezone the 35.36 acres.
We already had a motion.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry. And Alderman Martin seconded. So we'll go back to the original motion because the amendment failed. And so are you ready to vote on ordinance 2020-36?
And Mr. Mayor, this would be on first reading and to establish a public hearing
for May the 11th. Okay, Alderman Barnhill.
Yes.
Alderman Martin.
Yes.
Alderman Schroer.
No.
Alderman Speedy.
Yes.
Alderman McClendon.
Yes on first reading.
Alderman Blanton.
Yes.
Alderman Peterson.
Yes.
And Alderman Berger, you're going to recuse yourself again?
Yes, recuse myself, please.
It passes 6-2. 1, but the recusal counts as a no. So anyway, we'll go to item 13, which is ordinance 2020-37, ordinance to rezone 53.52 acres from civic institutional district to planned district for the property located west of Aldergates Way and south of Machatcher Parkway, establishing a public hearing on May the 11th. Is there a motion?
Move for approval on first reading.
Thank you, Alderman Blanton. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Alderman Speedy. Any discussion? You ready to vote? Alderman Barnhill.
Yes.
Alderman Martin.
Yes.
Alderman Schroer.
No.
Alderman Speedy.
Yes.
Alderman McClendon.
Yes on first reading.
Alderman Blanton.
Yes.
Alderman Peterson.
Yes.
And Vice Mayor, you still recusing yourself?
Recuse myself.
So it passes 6-1. Next is City of Franklin Contract 2021-0064, an agreement between the Department of the Army and the City of Franklin to provide real estate assistance for the Harpeth River Flood Risk Management Project. Is there a motion?
Move for approval.
Thank you, Alderman Peterson. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Alderman Martin. Any discussion? Ready to vote? Alderman Barnhill.
Yes.
Alderman Martin.
Yes.
Alderman Schroer.
Yes.
Alderman Speedy.
Yes.
Alderman McClendon.
Yes.
Alderman Blanton.
Yes.
Alderman Peterson.
Yes.
And Vice Mayor.
Yes.
Passes unanimously. Item 15 is Resolution 2021-78, a resolution authorizing the city administrator to execute Department of the Army flood proofing participation agreement with the City of Franklin. Homeowner funding agreements for the Harpeth River Flood Risk Management Project, U.S. Corps of Engineers Home Raising Project. Is there a motion?
Move for approval.
Thank you, Alderman Peterson. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Alderman Martin. Any discussion? Ready to vote? Alderman Barnhill.
Yes.
Alderman Martin.
Yes.
Alderman Schroer.
Yes.
Alderman Speedy.
Yes.
Alderman McClendon.
Yes.
Alderman Blanton.
Yes.
Alderman Peterson.
Yes.
And Vice Mayor.
Yes.
That's the end of all the new business. Are there any other motions to come before this body? Any other business? And I would usually ask that to Alderman McClendon.
Pop and smoke. Move to adjourn.
And I hope there's a second. Seconded by Alderman Barnhill.
Quickly.
Let's vote on it. Alderman Barnhill.
Yes.
Alderman Martin.
Yes.
Alderman Schroer.
Yes.
Alderman Speedy.
Yes.
Alderman McClendon.
I vote in favor of my own motion.
Alderman Blanton.
Yes.
Alderman Peterson.
Yes.
And Vice Mayor.
Yes.
Oh, we're adjourned. Thank you.